Hello. I think I'm ready. I was joking in the Discord earlier about how I think this stream and my last stream have basically just been me doing the same thing as a couple of other streams, which is trying to do them better. So we'll see how this goes. Right, so hello, I'm Daniel. We are building a job tracking app on this stream using Rust and Dioxys. Want to make sure everyone's aware that I do plan on monetizing it. So if you are helping out, like, just be aware that like you might be helping me get paid if that's a thing. And then, yeah, we'll see where we get to. Today, we are working on just trying to do a better job of errors. I'll talk about that in a moment. I've tried to shove chat in the top right corner of the stream this time. I don't know if it's going to work. YouTube chat is not as friendly for streaming as other streaming services, but we'll see where we get to with it. If I can turn it off if it becomes an issue. So we'll see how it goes. So the stream, I want to bring up kind of that the stream's not quite what I wanted it to be, I think. So I originally started this up. I was making the job tracking app anyway, and I thought, you know, I'm making a job tracking app in Rust. I'm trying to teach Rust online. Maybe people would be interested in seeing someone work on an actual Rust project online, and they can get a feel for sort of like what it's like to work on projects sort of, you know, for real. But I don't think I've succeeded in doing that at all, because actually software programming can be just very boring, and that's not good stream material. So I've generally like been doing a lot of stuff off stream to sort of make up for the fact that I've been skipping over the boring bits. I'm not disappointed with that choice. I think that's the right choice to make. But I don't know. I don't know if I don't know what I've set out, or I haven't succeeded at what I set out to do, I think is probably the main thing. So I think when the job tracker, I'm going to keep going with the job tracker for now. And when that comes to an end, I think it'll be a good question as to what happens next. So if you want to be involved in helping me decide what's going to be next, feel free to join the Discord and chat there, or you can chat in the chat here and pass on ideas, I guess. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the stream. So I mentioned that I worked on some changes between the last stream and this one, and there were a lot. Let's see if let me bring the app over. Sorry, I'll put it on the screen in a second. Okay, so there we go. Now the app itself, one thing that's great is I can now click this. Oh, it didn't appear. That didn't work. Okay. I bet I've just forgotten to pull the changes. I was working on a couple of different things today. So if I do GCO, let's just get that back in. Errors, get rebase main. I haven't done anything on this, so it should be all right to do a rebase. There we go. And then hopefully that will reload. We should get one more little pop in, pop out. There we go. If I go back to help and now click on the log directory, it now opens the actual directory, which is what we've wanted for a while. The actual solution to this was dead easy. It was basically, I've just got some conditional compilation that just chooses what, like, it literally just runs a command to open it, and depending on what system you're on, it will run a different command. So hopefully that's now sorted. Then, let me go back to my notes. Oh yeah, we are also going to be, we're probably going to be doing probably going to be rethinking the logging itself anyway today. So at the moment, logs appear here, and then they're like JSON blobs. It's also not very helpful that it's in like the help section. That's not the best place for it, I don't think. We'll be talking about some of that in this stream, so we'll come to that in a minute. Then I did a big reorganization of the UI crate. Hopping back again. Maybe I should just move my notes onto another screen so I don't have to keep doing that. In fact, if I put them on here, I can look at the camera while I do it. So the UI structure of this crate was not great. So I've done a little bit of reorganizing. We've got sort of views. So you can see we've got help, home, and support. Help, home, and support are these top level things. If I go into home, we've also got like a details section. So as we click through, hopefully this is starting to just bring things together in a little bit more of a sensible collection of things. We'll see how that actually goes. And oh yeah, I've leaned more heavily into, so at the beginning of the last stream, I discussed the fact that I was using partials to sort of take data from the page and then transition that into the data that we actually care about, from the sort of like the HTML domain into our storage domain. And I've just leaned more heavily into that. So basically everything now uses the partials. That was immediately a bad choice. Hang on. So where we have these form receivers that take the data back from the form, we now have the modify with form data applied to almost everything. So role can now just take some form data, arbitrary form data. Inside of that, it will create a partial, then apply the partial back on top of the role to make it nice and simple. So now we end up with basically 2 lines, and hopefully by the end of the day, it'll be 1 line. We can get rid of this. We'll see how that goes. So next, other changes. Yep, talked about the fact that I want to change that, change the rethink. Oh yeah, so no, I haven't talked about that. I think I want to rethink the way I'm using partials at the moment. We have kind of a lot of, I feel like forms should be their own thing. So at the moment we use this editable thing to switch between something that's being displayed and something that is editable, and then what to happen when the editable form is submitted. I think I probably want to change how this works. I haven't quite got a good, I haven't really been thinking about it very long, other than the fact that I don't like it. So we'll see how that goes. Cool. And other changes. I moved the application context into its own crate, which is something I've been talking about doing for ages. It's really tiny. It's just basically this one sort of blobby file, but it didn't feel right it being in storage. And this should be 100% tested, I think. Let's just have a quick test of that. No, not you, probably, oops. Let's do a quick coverage on this one. Hopefully this is 100% covered. I also had to go back, and where I'd been messing with the partials and stuff with storage, I had to go back and just make sure that I actually did have 100% coverage. Oh no, I'm missing 97% of lines covered. What have I missed? I need that's odd. Is it missing something? Oh, okay, that's fine. It's 100% covered. That's a bit of a weird one. So it's 100% covered of the stuff that is being tested. The tests themselves don't have the reject, because these never fail, it's not covering them. Maybe I should just delete those. One to think about. That's fine, doesn't matter. UI is back to being 100% covered again, because I basically went through and redid all of the tests where I'd missed things because I've been adding things from the partial stuff. What else? So timestamps, I changed the way timestamps work in storage, which means that had anyone downloaded the program, which I don't think anyone had, but had they downloaded the program and actually started using it, I basically made the timestamps invalid, which meant that it would no longer load. It would cause the application to crash when you try and load it in. The reason for this, we moved from having numeric Unix epoch timestamps to having string timestamps. So fixing that's quite interesting. I might just quickly hop into where are we? Storage. I just jump back so I can see what you guys see. So in storage, source, time here. Don't worry about the fact it says 11%. I don't know why it's just partly covered this one. In here, we now have essentially deserializing insert is a little bit weird. You're only ever allowed to deserialize once. You get one opportunity to do it. And so what I ended up having to do was tell it that I need you to deserialize the time into this temporary structure that only exists for the purpose of deserializing time. And then depending on whether it deserialized as a number or a string, then we could do either get it from a timestamp or parse it with the format that we're using. However, I'm also not very happy with the format because you'll notice this is not a standard of anything. It's year, month, day, hour, minute, nothing else. And so another thing I've been wondering is like, it probably doesn't really matter, but if I could just add more like formats to an array and just have it go through one by one, starting with the one that we save stuff as, like we'll call this like default format, for example, and save stuff with the default format. However, I'm a little bit nervous about receiving stuff back from browsers and stuff like that. So any improvement there would be good. Oh yeah, so this one's a little bit funny. So last time we actually were working on the keyboard and I came up with a way of doing keyboard input, and I've changed it since then. Not massively. Inside of the UI, we now have helpers, and then, was it not helpers? Where are you? I didn't leave it up. Oh, I did leave it up here. Okay, so that's a mistake. This should probably be moved to helpers. We have the shortcut event and this shortcut helper. So now the shortcut helper itself is what actually changed. This should stay in shortcuts, but the events and things should move out into the helpers directory. Okay, I'm already having regrets about how I named these things. It's fine. Anyway, previously we basically constructed the link in here and just had the callback basically call the link. But now what I've done instead is passed in a callback into this function, and then you can pass whatever you like in here. And this means that in the future, if we want to surround something else, say for example we want to surround a input field with a shortcut helper, the callback that we put in there could be like focus on this input field, and I think that would be quite nice because I want to be able to do, for example, if I do Command N, well, it won't be Command N because I can't get the super key, but say like Control N, could jump to this field because this is where you start if you're adding a new company, for example. And then when you type in, there's some work to do here, but I kind of want you to be able to quickly jump into one of these or submit. I need to think that through exactly, but shortcuts are definitely going to be a part of that. So that's why that's changed. And then, okay. Okay. I don't even know if I should show this. I was working on the style a little bit. I think I don't like Tailwind. I think that's where I've gotten to on this. If I come back up to, sorry, I think I might have done it in here. Yeah, this feat simple UI tweaks. I'm just going to show it off real quick. You can all be judgy about it, and that's fine. GCO, this thing. So I was chatting with a good design friend of mine. He's not to blame for any of the monstrosity that I've been working with over here. And that's still working, right? Events were dropped from, don't know what that's about. I'm not going to worry. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so some of the things that have slightly changed, or I've been trying to change over here, are that when you select a company, it now says roles for company over here. I've clearly mucked up something with the bound, like the border, sorry, the margin here. But also you'll notice that this now shows you which tab you're on a bit more clearly. So when we click on different things, it looks a bit nicer. I haven't changed the horrible pink of the shortcut keys, and also this needs sorting out. So this needs to go to the bottom and stuff. I really didn't get very far with this, which is why we're not going to continue working on this branch for now. And like I say, I think some of that stuff is just less interesting, which is kind of why I don't really want to do it on the streams. Why? There we go. GCO, better errors. Okay, so that brings us on to the errors themselves. So why are we changing what we already had? I don't think, let's have a quick look. We probably don't have any errors right now. We've gotten better at catching some of them. Had some help on stream. Gunther, I think, was helping me like fix the stupid little loop I had where I had a component subscribed to something that it was changing, causing it to basically like reload that thing twice, which was unnecessary. We were preventing the infinite loop, but it was still reloading it like one extra time that it didn't need to. So with some help from someone on stream, we were able to get rid of that error, but that means I now have nothing left to show you. However, logs appear here in the help section, which I don't think is the right place for them to appear, because if something goes wrong while you're working over here, there's no indication that you need to go look over here for what the problem is. We have this like one log file that just gets longer and longer and longer, which is also that has also caused problems. I've noticed it can get to like 600 megabytes, and then the application just freezes up when you go to this page, so you can't even see the logs anymore or get to the log directory. RX. Right. So it's kind of off to one side, and then also it's just like it kind of makes a bigger deal of it than it needs to, while also hiding it away, because we just end up with like a ton of stuff here that's not particularly readable. We've been saving stuff as JSON, which I'm not using, and I feel like it obfuscates what's actually happened, what's actually gone wrong. Lots of errors just are not handled at the moment. I think we already sort of bounced off one. Let's see if I can find it again. So where were we? There should be so many examples. I don't know why I'm having a sudden struggle to find them. You don't create any... funnily enough, error messages is not where I need to be. It's going to be in views. Actually, anything that creates something will be a problem. So the company list, which might be this one. Let's see. So when we create a company here, yeah, you can see we've got like expects. So if anything goes wrong with this form data, for example, something like just malformed or something, it will just crash the app, which is not acceptable in any way, shape or form. So that's a major reason as to why we need to actually really think about what we're doing with errors. And I really want to help users understand what's going wrong as well when people actually start using the application. One thing I was thinking would be really nice, not for any time soon, but if there was just a button you could push on an error to check and see if there's already a GitHub issue for it, and if there's not, help you create one. I don't know how useful that would be to people. It seems a bit on the software engineering side, but good evening, Vincent. Sorry, I didn't. I hid my own chat from the screen, so I couldn't see you there. Anyway, so that's why we are going to make the changes. Oh, I also don't know if errors maybe leak data that perhaps they shouldn't. So again, if I ever do go down the route of like having a button that you can commit, like create an issue from, I obviously don't want, you know, what company you were applying to and what you might have said about them going up onto GitHub. So I just need to be like conscious of making decisions around the structures of errors to make sure that we don't accidentally leak anything like that, even though it's not something we're going to be doing right now. I think that, oh yeah, some errors we can't do anything about as well. So we probably want to decide what we are going to show. Let's clear that out. Yeah, so I do occasionally get little errors, which I think might be down to Dioxys or something about, you know, we're using a pre-stable framework, and I get some errors where I'm just like, I'm 100% sure that that is outside of my control and I can't do anything about it. So I want to hide those from users if they pop up. So we'll have to make some decisions around that. So the plan for today, and I'm not sure exactly how long I'm going to go on for today. I think I'm going to aim for another 2-hour stream rather than going on for 3 hours, which I was doing near the beginning. Which reminds me, I should start a water timer. Right. So, actually, I don't know why I've been hiding this off to one side. It's my little notes. Okay, so we want to set up a signal that's going to receive errors from anywhere inside the application. This may not necessarily be the best way to handle it because obviously we have a logger right now that captures errors at a very low level. And I think I want to keep that in place. So I think there's probably going to be two sort of avenues that errors will sort of fork down. We'll want everything written to logs, but then we will also sort of omit an error into a signal so that we can try to show it to the user in a more useful way. So I'm probably still going to have that link to the log where the logs are. I was even thinking maybe I could just like whack something into the little desktop thing that allows you to start it up with an option that just tells you where the logs are in case you're having problems even starting the application. But again, not for today. Then we'll want to create a component that will show the errors when it hears a message being sent on that signal. I think we should be able to create some macros around the actual error handling so you don't have to think too hard about how you're going to manage the error. Or we could create our own trait that we then apply to our own error type, or do something where we can sort of like do something with this error a bit more trivially. We might start with macros and then move into that as a more sort of structured way of doing it. We probably want to deal with, I'm thinking that there's probably like 3 types of errors that really need dealing with, which are warnings, errors that aren't big issues that the application can carry on running, and then irrecoverable errors. This is why I want the underlying logger to continue working, is just in case we cannot show the error because the application now has to stop running for whatever reason. So there's also the question of when do we clear the log file. As I mentioned, having a 600 megabyte log file is not the way to go. So that's probably worth thinking about. And yeah, I think I mentioned like maybe we should come up with our own error type to classify all the different errors. So we'll see how it goes. So with that, the first thing we need to do is create a... and I'm immediately off to a blocker, because do I create it in the UI crate where we're going to be handling almost all the errors, or do I put it in a new crate? I think I'm going to put it in the UI crate for the reason that the UI crate already deals directly with Dioxys. And the first thing we're going to want to do is create a global signal that can be read from anywhere. So we already have a couple of those down here. So we'll do pub static. Let's think emit error. I think I was saying omit before, which means to take out, emit as in to create. We'll have a global signal, and it's going to be of type. What is it going to be a type of? I mean, it's going to have to be an option of something, because there's not going to be anything there to begin with. And then we can do. Let's think. We can do a anyhow error, maybe, for now. It's pretty easy to turn things into those, so that's probably the way to go. And then this is very, very similar to what we already have. Why are these just globals and not global signals? Oh, it's coming from here. Interesting. Weird and interesting. Didn't spell it right though. Okay, that's a start. So the next thing that we probably want to do is just shove something on the page to do it, but I am going to try and do a little bit better of a job of committing as I go. So UI, that's a hilarious comment from the last one. Added error emitter signal. Yeah. And let's go put it in a, I think it's probably going to be a generic component, because we might want it to appear in multiple places. Maybe it should just be something hiding in the top level. So let's start with that. We can probably start here, and we'll do the mod error display. Pub use error display star. Flatten it out. Create that module. It's going to be a Dioxys component, so we'll bring in Dioxys prelude. That's going to get annoying. Maybe I'll stop that for a minute. P is pause. There we go. Oh, what happened there? Interesting. And we're going to make a component. And it's going to be called error display. Very imaginative stuff here today. I don't think it needs any components, because it's just going to read things off signals and probably keep its own state. I want it to sort of be something you can just drop in wherever. Oops, element. And we'll do RSX here. Do a section. Error display. And I think that'll do for now. So let's think about how we want this to work. We will need that global signal. So if let's error equals emit. What is wrong with me today? Every day. So that should give us the error, and then we can do something with it. You're unhappy because expected function found. Have I already forgotten how to use these? We'll just go look at how we used this one. Be all kinds of lazy about it. Function call. Pretty sure shortcut signal's not used anymore. I probably should have taken that out. It's not something stupid like how very weird. Okay, fine. Documentation time. Dioxys, global signal. What have I missed? Is it going to be something to do with errors? Maybe I'll just make it a string for now. That probably would make it just a little bit easier to deal with. For the moment, we'll work it out. Okay, so it was something to do with the errors. I've probably just used the wrong type there then. That's fine. We'll come back to it. Could also use a box impl error maybe. That might also be a sensible way to go. Oops. Box impl error. Because we're in a static type, won't work. Okay, fine. Stick with string for now. Can always change it later. So, Vincent, while I'm stumbling around, how are you doing? The stream is quiet today. I feel like I'm not seeing the proper, well, the README type documentation as opposed to the sort of API documentation. My word. Let's just go to their main page, go to learn. It's in state management, I'm entirely certain, and then using globals. Oh, we don't need this anymore. We just worked out this problem. I'm trying to fix a problem I already solved. Okay. Getting used to being on camera. Okay. Getting used to being on camera. Have you done, what are you up to? Sorry. Just thinking about where I'm going to put this. Oh, on the chat, yeah. I mean, lots of people pop into the stream and then don't chat, and that's fine. I do like, I mean, a big part of the whole process for me is the fact that I get to talk to people, so I do enjoy that. What am I thinking here? We want to go, so in layout, this is sort of our main layout. This is like, that's the header and stuff. So I think maybe we could put it in here. We'll put it at the bottom of the page. And the reason to put it at the bottom of the page is we are going to absolutely position it. But we want it to appear on top of stuff. And so in HTML, typically you're not really supposed to be moving stuff around, but we can. Yeah, it was scheduled. I scheduled it a little bit late this time, which is on me. I think I only put the picture up yesterday, and I normally announce it a few more places, but it doesn't matter. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah, HTML, you can position things like around the page. It's supposed to be sort of like a structure of like, you know, this contains these elements, and then these elements sort of follow on from each other. And so if something if something contains something else, the something else will be drawn on top of the thing that it is that contains it. So it'll be so much easier to draw. I don't know if this is also maybe too basic as well, but we'll see. So typically you'd have like, this would be your page, and then inside of this you might have like a header, and then you might have like your main section, and in your main sort of section you might have say another sort of sidebar or something. I mean, our sidebars are on the left, but let's say in this case it's on the right. And the thing is, like, this sidebar thing gets drawn over the top of your main section, and typically stuff would move around to sort of accommodate that, but you can then absolutely position things. So even though this is here, you could technically draw it up here. And there's two ways to control the sort of render order of what's on top. There's Z indexing, which you should try to avoid because it's a bit of a hack. And then on top of that, there is just the fact that if it's further down the page, then it will draw on top. So that all of that is to say, I'll put our error display here. Next, let us think about what's going to be in it. So I'm going to have like a little heading. For now, I'm just going to put it in a span. It probably wants to be an H something. Errors. I think we also want some state in here. So we're either going to display or not display, depending on that state. With the slight issue being that we probably want to change the state from inside of here, which should be fine, I think. We have like other things where we've got like counters and stuff, so they're changing their own state, right? So in here we've got our counter. You can read count, it becomes dependency of the effect. Whenever count changes, the effect will return. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, this makes sense. So this is actually 891 is a regular on the stream, mentioned the fact that like similar in another framework, signals don't actually make any changes, but use effect will. So this basically allows us to only change things when the use effect changes, which is subscribed to the signal. So this is roughly how we're going to want to do it. So we will want a show errors equals use signal and then this is going to be a function with false to start off with, and then in this case we're going to do a couple of things, I think. So I think we probably want show errors to become true. It's not that, it's something like that. Was that right? No. I think .set is a thing we can use. Let's just use that for now. Why didn't that work though? Because it's taking... Oh, is it just dereference and then equals? Oops. Was that it? Yeah, it's a bit of a weird... Oh no, apparently not. never mind. Let's just go to set. We're pretty sure that works. And then over here, we'll use our use effect. I think that's a function, right? Yeah, move the signal inside. Move. So we would like let's show class equal, and then we can just do like I can never remember the idiomatic way of doing this. I know I know the whole point of me is the whole point of my channel is to teach idiomatic Rust, and I can never remember this specific thing. I think it's like a really, I would rather use a match personally, but I think the idiomatic way is to use an if else on this. So it's then show errors, call it as a function. That will give us the true or false. And then we can return two things here. One is going to be a show errors, and that one will be empty. That gives an effect. That's interesting. Wait. Use effects doesn't work the way I thought it did. But we're just using count here as is. So maybe we don't need the use effect. I'm pretty sure we do. That's going to bug me if that goes wrong, or when that goes wrong, inevitably. Just one moment. I'm going to just move the chat. How do I do pop out? So I have like a, well, I have borrowed from my partner a, what do you call it, with the teleprompt, which I can use as a screen, and then I can see myself, I love looking at myself according to my detractors, and that helps me focus on talking to the camera when I want to talk to the camera. But this, I usually have the chat up on there as well. And this time, because the chat is also on the screen, I was trying to read from that, but it's just a little bit too small. It's only a tiny little screen. So I've just thrown the chat up there separately. So now I have it twice. Anyway. So apparently, Vincent, I can be perfectly distracted purely by myself, which is probably not going to help my case. So we'll put show class in here. And we would like, so the reason I'm thinking about all of this is basically what I would like to do is set this back to false using a it might be a gift, yeah. I mean, actually, to be fair, I think I've mentioned on this, like my partner and I are both pretty sure that I have like undiagnosed ADHD, something I've been trying to get a diagnosis for, but in the UK is basically impossible. And I do think that it does give me the gift of just being able to like zone out entirely. When I've got one task in front of me, I can just sit down and work on it for like a long time and not even see the time go past. So in that regard, yes, it can be very, very beneficial, actually, a little gift, if that's the case, which we don't even know if it is. Anyway, on click is not that. That's very weird. Let's just get, so I'm going to have to move in here this time. And then we can just do show errors. ADD more. So there, I think, Vincent, you're showing your age. At least in the UK and the US, they're now only ADHD, but there's like 2 or 3 different variations of it. Attentive, inattentive. Actually, maybe just those two. Inattentive, inattentive. No, hyperactive and inattentive. Oh my God. ADHD types. Oh yeah, inattentive, hyperactive, all combined. Me getting distracted looking that up probably is also a sign. Anyway. Oh, you're only a tiny bit older than me. Um, I am in fact wearing my birthday shirt that my partner picked up for me. It's a Hawaiian shirt with palm trees and an 8080 and TIE fighters in the background. Right, I want to prevent the default. This was something that came up when I changed the logging button to show the actual folder of the logs. Is that for some reason I did the usual trick of, I say usual trick again, if you're not a web developer, you won't know. Basically, anchors, or the A elements, oops, that's not correct, do not show up as anchors as clickable links if they don't have an href. So for a long time, we just put like a hash in here, which theoretically basically just means don't do anything. That's not entirely true, and it can get a bit quirky because anchors like this. Oh man. So I'm getting a little bit out of my depth here because this is going back on like ancient HTML, and while I am old, I've only been doing this HTML stuff for, I am very old, 26-7 years, something like that. When I was like in my young to mid-teens is when I probably started on all of this. But A used to be actually used for like an anchor point in the page, and then you would have its ID, and then you could use an href with a hash to jump to that ID, and that still works and is a great way. Like if you have a table of contents or something, like this actually, if we go inspect in here, you'll probably see, in fact, we've already got up here. So using globals is the hash thing. If I go here again and look at this in elements, you probably see that on this element, it has like a ID of using globals. How do I make you come down? Why have you gotten squished like this? What happened? What? I keep seeing it pop up. Do you see it? And then it disappears instantly. Is there another way of dragging this down? Oh dear, that was not quite what I meant. Passing props, inspect. That's very frustrating. Oh, okay, that's weird. It was just the console was pushing everything up. So if we look in here, here, it's on the H3 itself, so we've got passing props is the ID, and then using that will jump to it. So writing in a blank one sort of makes it a link without actually doing anything. However, on the load up your folder command maybe I never actually showed it off. Sorry, views, help, mod. So up here, I basically just have these three functions all called the same thing. So which one you get depends on what you're building for. So revealing the fact that I'm on a Mac, as if you couldn't tell. I initially just had this with the on-click. On Windows, for some reason, doing that and then clicking it would open in my browser the thing here, which doesn't even make sense because it's already a web page. I don't know why it's opening up in a browser. So adding in the prevent default stop that from happening. That was all I wanted to say. Yes, HTML peaked in the 90s. I don't know. I feel like it's probably a tough time to be a HTML developer because everyone thinks they can just have their AI do it. And I don't want to get too negative about AI because I feel like I do that a lot on the stream. But I think people are going to quickly find out that actually you still do need a developer to help you with your software. Remember, software engineers aren't paid to write code, they're paid to solve problems, and LLMs can't do that. They can just spew out a string of tokens in an order that seems appropriate to the question you gave it, or not even that. Based on the string of tokens you gave it, it gives you a new string of tokens, and it's very convincing, but it's not actually doing what you think it is. It's not thinking things through or anything like that. So I think people are continuing to run into issues. So right now, though, it's a bad time to be a web developer or any kind of software engineer, really. Yes, definitely in the state they are now, but I'm don't think I'm alone on this, but I think I'm in the minority thinking they're not going to improve. Unlike a lot of technologies, I don't think LLMs are going to improve. I think they've peaked. And that's down to an issue called context rot. Basically, there's nothing new for them to absorb. And so they can't get better from just gathering more data, which is how from the late teens to now, that's how they've improved so quickly, and so massively, was they just had a lot more context. Unfortunately, apparently, I don't think this can possibly be real. I think it's a made-up statistic, and here I am repeating anyway. We've now surpassed like 50% of the internet being AI nonsense. So there's nothing left to train it on other than photocopies of photocopies. So I think I like AIs. I just don't like LLMs, and I don't like Stable Diffusion because I don't think they're useful and they're being pushed very hard to people who don't understand them, to tell them like you can now fire all of your creatives. But we'll see. Computer file's really good. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think LLMs and Stable Diffusion, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they've plateaued. Partly because of the complexity of the issue. You can throw more computers at it, but it doesn't necessarily help. Or at least you get diminishing returns from it, and like we're already doing as much as we possibly can right now. And then, yeah, like I say, the context we're done now. We can't grow the context any further than it was. It's like how you can't carbon date things anymore because we blew up so many nuclear weapons that carbon dating broke. It's basically the same thing. We've made the place where we got the context from completely toxic and a total mess. Anyway, other AIs will come along, and some of them will be good. I think I am not a big believer that we're anywhere close to an AGI, so I don't think we have that to worry about. And LLMs is certainly not the path to that. I'm going to stick with LLMs not being the problem. I think the lower level stuff, like the actual sort of like vector mathematics that helps you match things to each other, that is interesting, but yeah. That's exactly it. Not to mention all the stuff that got stolen. No one's getting paid for that. It's a little bit gross when you think about it. And it's not even like this is new. Allegedly, Spotify were doing this as well. So apparently, up until fairly recently, like a lot of stuff on Spotify was AI generated by Spotify, and a lot of their models were trained on the stuff that they've been given, which feels gross if true. If true, that is horrendous, because the obvious thing there is they want people to use Spotify but not to have to pay artists. So, but even if that's not true, there are people who are doing that. So, Anyway, sorry. I guess it's topical. It comes up a lot. Even my partner, who does not work in software engineering, is like, this feels like it's not going to, it's not going to work in the long run. What I think can be very powerful LLM, not that fast, I think. AI for diagnosing. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. So if you watch my normal videos, there is AI in that, not generative AI. Well, unless you count the fact that it turns my voice into a transcript for me as being generative. I don't really know what's going on there, but I'm not like creating something new stolen off anyone's work except for my own. I use it automatically generates my transcript. That is AI. And then I also have voice isolation, which is also AI. No, this is like why I enjoy these streams. It's like, I just love chatting. So don't worry about that. So yeah, it's not that I hate AI or I'm like terrified of being replaced, or perhaps I am terrified of being replaced, but not because I won't have money, because the people who are replacing me with AI are being sold snake oil that's not actually going to do the job for them. So there's that as well. Anyway, let's see if we can get this into the page. So it should have appeared somewhere. It has not. What have we missed? So we've got it down here after the root. Did I hide it? I don't think I did, right? So we've got error display. I haven't done anything here. I don't like, sorry, I really don't like Tailwind. I think that's the issue. Hey, Badger. Yes. Yes. Let's see. Just don't forget, I have no idea who watches these videos after the fact, so just bear that in mind if you want to discuss anyone in particular. And if you if you need to remove that later, let me know. Let's think. I think we want to do BG, kind of like a, I want a deep red. I mean, 950, that could be all right. I mean, at least that, I don't have to think about that, I guess. Anyway, let's see if we can find it in the page. Oh, because I paused it. Right? Okay, let's keep it paused, but we'll do manual rebuilds and just try to remember to do them. So we are expecting it somewhere at the bottom, probably in this corner here, I reckon. No, not quite in the corner, but that's not a bad start. So next, let's see, we've got show errors. I think what I want here is basically for this to be display none. Am I going to try... Oops, do not like Tailwind. That's right, Tailwind, let's just get rid of this. Tailwind, leave, don't care. And then, oh yeah, it's like Command K. So they get the Command key. Why don't I get the Command key? I'll have to look at how they did that. Display. What about display none though? Interesting. Flex none, that's not what we want. Oh, for goodness sake. Like, what is the point of this framework? I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I know CSS already, apart from letting me choose colors in really lazy but working ways. I don't get it. Error display, show errors, I think was the other class. Display block. With the issue there being that I have no way of actually triggering an error. So what I'm going to do is create a way to show the errors. That makes sense. In my head, it makes sense. So error display is always going to be here. We have our little helper thing. So we could do... Hi, Yuki. Don't know if he's coming up in the thing. Yuki? Oh, Yuki? What do you think? Yay or nay? I think it's going to be a no. We'll see. Can you chill out up here? Is it too bright? No, he's really not liked me moving the bed up here. Okay, so show errors, should show them. So what I'm thinking is, can we just listen for a shortcut? We could even do it in here, right? Because it's just another signal. So we want to do if let we need to create a shortcut first. Right, hang on, how did I do this? Trying to remember all the way back to last week. So we've got our, not you, editable. Not editable, what am I doing? none of this. Hang on, shortcuts. Shortcut helper. It's this. So why this even works, I don't know, but. And we will create a shortcut signal. I think we can just probably create a one up here. So use, const, I think. Shortcut, we'll do error, shortcut. My goodness, what did I call them? Shortcut event. So yeah, it might be all right. Let's do Control E. Oops. Prelude. We'll import everything from the prelude, and then we don't have to worry about it. I think this has to be that, which is weird. Shortcut, and then close that off. We have not got an E yet, so let's add that in. E. I think that means we have to add it in here. Is that all we need to do? Yeah, for now, that's fine. Cool. And then so with luck, and what I'm probably going to do is probably have like this bit inside of something else, so you can click on it and then have it pop out. Is what I'm thinking. R to rebuild. The reason I'm pausing it for now is just that IntelliJ is really perhaps a little bit over zealous on the actually saving bit. Like, it saves after every few key presses, which I don't need it to do. I like it. I mean, I could just change it, I'm sure. Change the behavior to it being like on lost focus or... We'll have a look at that in a minute. Okay, so Control E does not do anything. So let's just do a debug. The old classic. I do need to work out how to do proper debugging inside of Dioxys. And that requires rebuild. I've been doing full rebuilds. Can I do... Okay, fine. Let's just leave. Let's just turn it back on again, I guess, for now. Full rebuild is probably a bit too much. Anyway, Control E. So we're not seeing anything here. Interesting. I'll click here to go back. Brilliant, brilliant. That makes perfect sense. That's also a bit weird. Don't know why that happened. Let's select some things so we can make sure that that's actually still working. So Alt R. We're already on Alt C, Alt R, Alt I, Alt Q. That's all fine, but Control E, we're not seeing anything come from that. So let's jump over to the desktop, and in here we've got our keyboard. So what we can do is just see that we are actually emitting that event correctly. Just entirely. Oh, here, look. Is this right? On shortcuts. No, it'll be in here. So let's just do debug. Needs to be a reference because it'll take ownership otherwise. Okay, we are seeing it. So for some reason, we're just not getting it on the other thing. Let's triple check that it's there. Should we start off? Maybe if we start off with that being set to true. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, it's in the, yeah, over here. So we'll start off with it true. Not rebuilding this time, apparently. Badger, how are you doing? While we wait for long rebuilds. What is going on here? Have I created some sort of... No, I can't create a loop in the build. It's taking far too long to rebuild. I don't have it... No, that's fine. That's just... What is going on? Let's close that for now. Weird. So it's disappeared. I've made a mistake somewhere. Let's take this out for now. That brings it back. So I've made a mistake with the classes, maybe. Okay. Looks like a nice color. Is it going to be something like I need to put a semicolon at the end of some of these or something stupid? I don't like Tailwind. Don't tell 891. So, inspect. So show errors is currently on, but it's not pink. What am I missing? Oh, space. I was gonna say I can message him, but my phone's not actually anywhere near me. I have messaged him. Oh, there we go. I think so my mistake, I think. Yeah, okay. So I did a space, which means that show errors is inside. No, hang on, why? Oh, because it's being applied to, no. How have I forgotten basic CSS? This is going to be an embarrassment for everyone who's previously worked with me. Why is it linked? It's that one's fine. Is it helper text inside of show modify? It is. So yeah, I was doing show errors inside of error display with a space like that, which makes sense because if you wanted to do say like a anchor inside of a paragraph, it would be this. So yeah, just total brain fart thing. So that means we can go back to what we had before. Take that out, or put it back in even. And now, the X doesn't work. So let's go back to having this, sorry, not shortcut, I meant display. Put this back to false so it starts off as false. I think it is going to end up being something like it's supposed to be inside of a use effect. Sorry, Control E. Wait. Where did I take the debugging out? No. Now what's happening? I'm not seeing it over here. Well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be very weird. Let's try rebuild. Just make sure we actually select these first. So that's fine. Alt-E isn't sending anything. Because Alt key presses... Okay, let's make it Control-E. I think this is capturing Alt... No. Why aren't we getting Control? So there's our Alt key tracking. You can see that it's basically like Alt is pressed, Alt isn't pressed. This is telling that there's a key up event of Alt there. And then Control is working. Is it because I've used key, if I use code instead of key to get the event? Sorry, that's not where we want to go. We probably want to go here. And there should be a into maybe. Oh no, I'll have made the into in here, won't I? Will I? Yes. What? So this is the keyboard event. We've got is Control pressed. So this is the event as it's seen by JavaScript. And why would that then not convert? So then, okay, so sorry, we need it is the into somewhere. Try from here, is Control pressed, shortcut modify Control. If Alt is pressed, if Control is pressed. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, there's one mistake. So we can start with that being an issue, that we didn't take that into account. Still doesn't explain. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's just move on. I think the issue there was I just forgot to map key E to the letter E. Let's make these PQR. Let's make them in order. We'll add more as we need, I guess. I need to think that through. I'm also not actually that happy with this structure. I think that the JavaScript structure is actually better than the one that I've created, which makes sense. Smarter people than me worked on it. So I might rethink. For example, you can't do like, with the way I've got it, you can't do like Control Shift something. And so I probably want to think about maybe just having this like is Alt pressed or whatever. I think that will be fine. I can get rid of this like key code and key thing and just transform it into these, because for our purposes, it doesn't matter. If you were... the only time I've ever really cared about it is when doing game development of all things, where the physical key and the sort of interpreted key can be different in really weird ways. So we're not going to get into that here. And if we did need to, we can just adapt these. So don't think it's a big issue. Hopefully, touch wood. I don't know if I've tested this on any other devices. So next issue, error display doesn't disappear. I didn't do this right, so that's probably why that doesn't work. There we go. So Control E, click the X. Why is hello equal to hello? What? Oh, here, in getting this, okay. That's... Oh, right. I don't think this is going to work. So it looks like it's because it's still subscribed to the because this still contains the previous thing. I think this is why. Dot set none. I think this will cause an issue though, because now this is going back to cannot borrow as mutable. Feel like yes I can because I've been doing that, right? All right. So very weird. So very weird. So that's the thing I was looking for earlier, where I was pretty sure you could just get a dereferenced thing and then set it. So my expectation here is that when Control E, do that, we should actually get an error along the lines of write signal within a reactive context, inside of error display, rerun, causing issues. So the question then becomes, well, how do we clear that out? Because we can't actually remove it. That's going to be an interesting one. So we can't set it back to none here after we've checked that it is the signal that we're waiting for, because that causes it to loop. Unless there's a way to write to global signals and not trigger a redraw. Let's have a quick look. We were looking at global signals earlier, weren't we? I want the real, I don't know what's going on there. I want the real thing. That's probably it. Let's do global though. Global signal. Resolve the global memo. This will try to get existing value from the current virtual DOM. If it doesn't exist, we'll create a new one. That's not what we care about. Write this value with mute, still not what we want. Resolve the global value, origin scopes. Doesn't look like there's a way. So here's the thing, we could peak. That would prevent it from redrawing, but it won't then subscribe to it. And subscribing to it is what we actually want. We just don't want to trigger it to go again when we remove it. Probably without checking the lifetime. Nope, definitely don't want to do that. So set, oh, no. Yeah, so set triggers an update on all subscribers. Toggle also takes the value from the signal, leaving a default in its place. So, okay, what we could do, there you go, Vincent. What we could do is we could peak, check if the peaked value is that. No, we can't, because peaking won't cause it to pretty sure. But found something entirely different. Let's deref it. It seems happy with that. With the problem being that, is it then even going to notice that it happened? No. Sorry, no, it doesn't. That's a weird one. Yeah. 891, I was just being the biggest Tailwind detractor of all time. I don't like it. I feel like if I know how to do the CSS, I should just do the CSS. And even like looking up how to not display something, how to like the display none, I couldn't find it. I'm just like, I give up. Does not matter. Okay, so that's not going to work, but we do need to unset it. It's going to trigger subscribers. Run a function with a reference. No, because peaking's not going to work. Okay, you know what? We're not going to worry about it for now. It's because what I kind of want is like a remove if it's this value. Like if it is this value, just remove it and we're done. We're done. And if dot take, but I want to replace will give me a none, but I want to like only do that if it's the right value. Run a function with a reference if it's no, because not that either. Run a function with a reference to the value. If the value has been dropped, this will panic. So with could be the way to go. I don't think so either. Okay. I zoomed back in the video. You are tailwinding wrong, and it's caused great offense to your people. I find the correct way of doing Tailwind even more egregious, though. Just writing all of the classes directly onto your components makes me feel nauseous. I don't like it. I feel like CSS is a solved problem. I don't know. So for me personally, and it is an entirely personal choice, I want to get better at Tailwind because I might have to work with it in the future, but CSS is already a really good solution, and we keep coming back to basically like ways of just trying to make CSS work in different ways, a lot of which is just based on like pure misunderstandings of how CSS works. He says confidently, having made the mistake with the space earlier. I just like CSS on its own. I don't mind things like Sass and Less, where it's more constructive, but even with that, you can end up going into problems. So I just kind of like having one big CSS file. I know it's not very practical for very large projects, but I definitely don't like, well, I mean, but it's not just markup though, is it? If you're just doing markup in React and stuff, you're doing it wrong. I mean, like my thing still contains sections and spans and A's. It's more about how we actually construct the thing in the first place. And so you're not getting away from the markup by having this here. You're just sort of like putting it in place. I mean, you could make the argument that Tailwind is basically the same thing, that you're just putting things in place, but I don't know. It's just icky. It's a component. Okay. So it's a component library, which we also don't like because component libraries are always inherently wrong and gross and unnecessary, especially if you know how to just write the thing that you want. I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe I just need to spend more time with it and try and get better at it, but I just find it to be like, okay, so for example, this is semantically meaningful to me, but if I write in all of the many classes that I want to apply from Tailwind, then this just becomes like noisy garbage. And that's not the same as sort of a component library, because with a component library I can just dump error display in, and contextually, if you are reading through the code and you don't care about error display, you can just skip it. But Tailwind is basically doing the exact opposite, where it's literally forcing you to think about every single thing that's being applied to a component. Yeah, there's the hill I'll die on. Anyway, how are we going to get around this? So I could use more signals. But then how do I turn it off? So I could, for example, say like, well, this has now been triggered. I don't know. Maybe we just won't use this for now. Let's do what we should have done in the first place, which is we'll do a div. We'll do a div. We'll bring this. Actually, can I just? Nope. Apparently can't. Wait, can I not? There we go. Why? There we go. This is going to be our error container. Excuse me. And then on this, we'll have, so now, okay, so in here, we'll have the show class on the top here. Whoops. Here instead. And then we'll use that class to show the inner one. And now we can use the space. So if I go back to input, so now if show errors is turned on the outside, then the internal error display can now be shown. Additionally, we will have I mean, what should we have? Like another little div maybe? And this is literally just going to be our sort of like, I really need to put ARIA labels and stuff on this. It's not good. It's not explaining anything. I'm literally going to just copy this. And this can be our show errors button. Okay. Sad because I left something stupid up here. Let's bring this, no, we're leaving this out. We're gonna leave that out. We're not doing anything with that, that's fine for now. Index bounds on hot reload. I think that's not an us issue, is it? This is going to take a full rebuild. No? Okay. I bet that shows up in here as well, does it? No. Okay, let's clear those out. So here's our little button, which we can now push. So that now works, mostly. And you can see it's on every page. So the next job is going to be like moving this into the right place. Oops, sorry, that's not the right thing. I also want to stop displaying show errors button when it's within the show errors thing. So is that right? We at the right level? Yes. A little bit worried that I dragged 891 over here, insulted his favorite framework, and now he's not talking. Show errors, and then what did I say was show errors button? Something like that. Oops. And if it's not, then it'll be block. Probably. We'll. I mean, I'm bike shedding on entirely the wrong thing here. I think I want to move this up into Okay, I have a better idea. So let's go back to draw.io and I'll try and draw it out so that people can see where I'm going and not just listening to me umming and ahhing. Right, so let's pretend this is going to be our little error block. Perfect. Perfect, pink errors, good. What we could do is basically have like a little tab on the side. And then this will be like our little outward arrow. So when we're not showing the errors, oops. It'll just like, it'll have the little outward arrow, no actual errors there. And then when you click it, this can pop in, do a nice little transition or something maybe. And then we can have the X appear so that then causes it to pop back out again. Let's give that a go. Let's see where we get to with that. I think we'll have to get a bit cleverer with the structure of the layout as well. We'll come on to that in a minute. So that means this might actually get a little bit simpler even. Sorry, error display. So we've got our show errors. We no longer need this. We're not doing that. This becomes toggle because that's what we do with Booleans. This becomes, I think we can just do the if show errors, with the slight issue being that we have potentially, yeah, it's not going to, our signals copy, they are copy, that's good. So then we can do X, else. And I think we'll have it on the right-hand side of the screen somewhere. Again, this is not good. ARIA stuff. Oh, that didn't work at all. Oh, yeah, of course it didn't, because we would like, I guess let's just have some errors in here. We'll do a UL, LI, not a real error. Gosh, been going an hour and a half on this already and I've just gotten nowhere. So I've made a mistake again. Where have I made the mistake this time? It's possibly in the... I think it's probably going to be this bit. It's going to be like... What? Why this error again? I wonder if Dioxys is out of date or something. No, probably going to end up regretting that as well. Let's just reset this for now. Do that some other time. Yeah, this hot reload out of bounds thing's a bit weird. So, not a real error, but we've lost the X, have we? Oh, yeah, of course we have, because we told it not to display after that. We no longer need these, right? There we go. So that's getting there. I think this needs to be above. So it's always in the same place. I'm not going to worry too much about the stylings further than this for now. I think I'm happy with where they are. So yeah, they're staying in the same place. So we'll sort that out another time. Again, I think it would just be too boring for stream. What I want to do is get to the point where we have a sensible way of passing errors into this. So on this case, I wonder if there's a way of doing like a list. So what we could do is, I think we'll do a use signal. Sorry, it's going to be vec. I think I'll just tell it that it's a vec of strings. New. And then we can now use the use effect. So use effect, and this way it's going to be, sorry, just wondering if there's a way of getting around this issue with the shortcut using this. Anyway, in here we will listen for the error, the global error signal, this bit, and then we'll use that to update the errors. Did we decide there was a way of doing this mutably? .get mute. Let's go back to the documentation. I'm pretty sure I saw it in here. With mute would probably also work, to be honest. We just pass the string in. If we don't have get mute, actually looking like we don't. Okay, with mute then. Move, it's gonna need that string. It's also gonna need to be inside of this. Is this sad because we, okay, yeah, fine. With mute, I'm guessing this gives us our errors here. E.push, error. Mutable borrow, I need to move it. Move. Okay, so now what I need to do is just create an error. So what's a sensible error that we could make? I mean, we can emit them from anywhere, right? So what we could do is just emit one by viewing a page. That should be fine because simply emitting the error shouldn't actually make any other changes. So if I were to go into role list, not role list, details, role information, mod, and then in here we could literally just do like a emit error dot set. Whoops. Oh, this is the whole, like, sorry, this is the dot right equals whoops to string. Okay. Some. So now, in theory, if we look here, we have not a real error. Oh, I haven't actually written down the errors. Let's go back then. Error display. Errors, error list equal errors dot iter dot map e rsx. I mean, I could literally just, I'm never really sure how I want to do these exactly. That should be fine. And then I can just do, did we have the li in here? I think it was ul even. Yep. So then this can be, sorry, dot collect. I need to tell it it's going to be a vec. Other than the internal type it can work out. Error list. Why are you sad? Cannot move. That's fine. Just making effectively a new string like this. And doesn't like that. How have we done lists? So flag list item individually. There's that. And then in the populated flag list, we get the list items. Oh, we don't turn it into a collection. We just... yeah, okay. If we drop the collect, does that make it go away? You drop the vec as well. That should just be a map data. Yeah, interesting. Creates temporary value, which is freed while still in use. That is true, because why is it temporary? Oh, errors makes the temporary value. Okay, that's not an issue. So let's error strings equal that thing. I could have done a refactor button push thing. See if that makes it work. Okay. So there should now be nothing in here, which is true. I've clearly ruined the styling again somehow. I want to click on roll. There we go. And it did the thing that I wanted it to do, which is it popped up when there was an issue. However, the problem is I suspect that's still going to be true when I click X. No? Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, the list itself works. So I think I'm going to call that a win. I know it's super unimpressive, but we'll start with that. Right, let's remove this. Let's save a bunch of stuff. Let's do DX format. Oh, whoop, don't know what DC is. Whatever that was. DX format. See if this is actually going to work. Keep running into little issues. No, immediately not going to work. I really want this to work. So this one in particular, I would like it to trigger. Oh, can we use a use effect for this as well? It might need to be a different use effect because we are. If I do a use effect, I'm still going to be in the same problem, aren't I? Because if it's set, oh God, just okay. If wherever I read this from is immediately where I want to turn it off again. And so I get this stupid loop of if it's true, it needs to be turned off, but I want it to not emit an error, but it's going to cause it to re-render. I want it to, so you press the button, you get an event. Oh, wait, no, I think this will work. So let's duplicate this. And the reason I think it's going to work is that it should only trigger this on the event actually happening. Whereas this is always going to happen, like anytime this redraws, it's going to read from the thing. But if I put it in a use effect, then it should only happen when it actually receives the signal. So if I do true here, in fact, I could even just do toggle here, probably. I think this should work. And then I need to do shortcuts. Oh shoot, no, it does. Yeah, maybe. What was it? Control E. Well, that's the infinite loop that we've been worried about. Okay. Does something like use memo get us out of this mess? This is something that I want to look at in the near future. I've got like a lot of things that in components where it's listening for an event and then doing a lot of work. I want to remove that and make some custom hooks instead. So that's something to look at. I'm still stuck in the same place, aren't I? I need to be able to read it and then remove it, but I only want to remove it in the specific case where I'm asking it to toggle the thing. So the alternative... What would be the alternative? I'm really stuck on this. Yeah, I don't know the right way to handle it. Okay, we're just gonna have to come back. I will remove it for now. We know what it will. I'll just comment it out for now. Leave it to do. Figure out how to listen for an event a single time. And we're sure that's not use memo, right? Is a reactive primitive that lets you derive state from any tracked value. It takes closure that computes the new state and returns a tracked value with the current state of the memo. Anytime a dependency of the memo changes, the memo will rerun. Maybe it is the thing that we want then. Don't even know how that's reopening. That should just be broken. No, it's not listening to it. Oh, no, it must have gone into an infinite loop, right. We'll just do a quick rebuild on that, make absolutely certain that's what we're seeing. Control E is dead, okay. So Control E is the button that kills everything. So weird. The peak doesn't solve the problem because I need to be able to. I feel like I'm being very dumb here. I feel like this is an absolute solved problem, and this is the sort of thing that you see in sort of React things as well. It's the ultimate error key, yeah. I think it's probably, I don't know. Anyway, let's not worry about it for now. We've got these two. We'll take these out for now. I've got the note. Let's commit our changes. We'll just read through them, make sure they make sense. So that's the generator file for Tailwind. So it's this one that's actually changed here. Error display, this is not correct. So good job we immediately checked our thing. This is why the background has disappeared. Oops, not role description. Error display, it's going to be error container wants to be the thing that is read. Error display, show errors button. Maybe it's the two of them. Error display should be read. Let's do a min height. Min height. Do I have some defaults? I do not. I'm just going to leave this as 10 pixels for now. We will do Show errors button probably also wants to be that red as well. And again, I'm certain this is also going to anger 891. So let's just double check that. I think it's fine. It's very clearly not fine. I don't care. When I've sized these all up and positioned them correctly, I think it'll be okay. Right now, it's obviously garbage. Obviously. Do I want to fix that right now? I kind of want to fix it right now. So we've got the error container. I feel like this is doable. This is going to be flex. That'll let the components sit next to each other. Of course, we need some actual errors, which means probably putting that thing back in roll for a second. Oops. Oh, I wish the breakpoints would work. It's here, right? Oh yeah, still changed because that's in there, so that's another thing we need to fix. Nonetheless, so now if I go over to roll, that now appears. I clearly need to do, why is it, if I made a mistake on the whole flex direction, flex, oh my goodness, direction, no, it's a row. So what have I done here that's incorrect? Oh, why is it? It is. Oh, the section's got some stupid. It's not you. Layer base, whatever that was coming in from somewhere. Let's just not make it a section then. That'll make that nice and easy. And again, this is why I should not be trusted with style, layout, and design and stuff. I will just make it up as I go along. Error display, div. Technically, this is probably the section at this point. I'm not going to worry about it. So now it's in the right place, ish. I mean, obviously, if I obviously get more here, but I think that's probably okay for now. Where is that the X? Why is it growing? I think I'm just going to rip out Tailwind. Oh. The only thing that I'm enjoying about Tailwind is the colors. I think that's it. I'm really easily impressed with pretty colors. I think these are nice. The slate color scheme is nice. It really means you don't have to think, and I struggle so much with colors, but this is doing something here. I think, is there a bottom being set? Cannot work this out. Oh, I'm on body for some reason. Sorry, it's this one. So computed, let's see, doesn't say there's a bottom. Oh, it wants to be an inline block, right? That's going to be what it is. No, that's not it. No idea. It's not like I'm good with CSS full stop, but I don't know. I don't like it. It's making me so, oops, too much. So that should no longer be changed. Keyboard, we just changed the order of these and added a new one in. Nothing else in here has changed. UI source, components, shortcuts, shortcut event. Yep, added the E in. This is our new file. This is getting it added. Close that out for a second. I've just realized that when I tried to show off the coverage earlier, it is behind the chat on the thing, so I'm sorry about that. So there on the right is where I could see the coverage wasn't perfect on here, and then when I loaded it up, we were able to see that it's actually because I've written in error messages for the assertions that never get triggered because the assertions always pass, which is the whole point of the test. So maybe I'll just take out the I don't know, the messages for the assertions, and then it'll be 100, which doesn't feel right to me. We'll come back to this. I don't think string is going to be the right way to do this, or maybe it is. Maybe we convert it to a string before we send it. We'll think about that. Okay, let's just delete that. I don't know why that. Okay, I think this is fine. So now we've added the error display, not really styled. Need the help of that guy I just routing now. Commit and push. See if it actually passes. Commit anyway. Should probably have checked the thing over here. That's still not going to work. Great. It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just run that again real quick. It's upset with this. Why? Help replace the closure with the function itself. Oh, yeah, of course. Good idea. Clippy, nice one. So like, it doesn't matter. There's a closure that it's either a closure that takes no parameters or a function that takes no parameters, like being called by, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, oops. Okay, now I'll commit. Commit anyway and push. We know it's just complaining about the to-do that I've somehow double commented up here, but never mind. Let's close that, so just in case it pops up again. I could stop it. Stop. Okay, drink time. So we're coming up on the time that I wanted to end, but this is not going to be complete without, I've obviously hit the wrong button, I don't know what I was doing there. This isn't going to be complete unless I at least have a way of getting the errors that we can see into there. I don't really have a good way of testing it at the moment, I think. Let's have a think about this. So I'm pretty sure just submitting that crashes the program. So that is what we want. And you'll see in here, it's probably going to reference an expect of name is missing. So that's a perfect one to get started with, right? Happy with that. So that is in company list mod here. We basically have this create company closure being used. And what happens is when we do the partial company, a partial isn't valid if it doesn't have a name. So this expect is what's causing that, beg your pardon. Sorry, I think it's this one actually, the second one. The partial is fine. It's the trying to use it to create a new company, I think. Incomplete partial error, invalid company details. So what we need to do here. So sorry, I get very burpy when I've been drinking my water. What we need to do here is basically, this is fine. Like the application can continue working if this fails, right? Like we just stop processing at this point. And so what we probably want is something along the lines of, apologize, I think there's children in the garden next door, and I'm hoping that's not coming across too much. I mean, that obviously fine to play, but I don't think you guys need to be listening in. Introduce variable. So we have this result here. And then we effectively kind of want... Oops. Let company equal... now we're inside of a closure. So what we could do is just return from the closure to stop this executing from this point. And I think that's probably fine. So let's do that. So we want to do OK, C will give us this company out, and then E. Then there's going to be a couple of things that we want to do. So return is one of them because we want to stop executing. And then we would like to emit error. Now we're taking strings, so it's going to be this. Nope, it's not going to be that, Daniel, because that's not how that works. It's going to be that. Why does that not look right? It seems happy. It's not happy. Oh, we're missing a... There we go. That's what more like what I expected it to be. So we can now actually just drop all of this. This just all goes away. Emit error, that's also not going to work as we've discovered. So it needs to be that dot write. Whoops. Close that off. Equals, get rid of that. Format is unhappy now because it's an option, so it's that. So what was the problem? If I just press submit here, that immediately worked. It's not a great message, but it's close. It's close to a great message. Excellent. This bit of the stream has gone about. This bit's gone better than I was expecting, while the rest of it just was struggle. So I'm thinking the key part of this is basically the return, which will kick it off. I think what we basically have here is this is macro fodder. So what we want to kind of do is take this. Let's go to our helpers. We'll create a new error handlers. Pub use error handlers start. I'll go back in there. Is it this? Yep. And then we want to do macro rules, and then I'm thinking something like a error unwrap error, or God, this is good. Report and return. Well, naming things is hard. Next in here, I think, sorry, if I were to write this out, so this is the code we want to end up with creating in our macro. So the bit that that's being passed in that actually matters is going to be this, which is a statement. So in here, we're going to have, I don't know, thing to unwrap, stimate. And then over here, we can do the, probably don't even need this, right? We can probably just put it in the next bit. Okay. What we are missing though is we still need to do this as well. So hopefully that's fine. So that will allow us to get the error in the error log and also show it in the error handler thingy. So we need to, macros are a little bit weird. You can't like pub use them, but we can sort of do, is this right? I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know why it's complaining. We use this elsewhere in this project, I'm sure of it. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsie. Yeah, that is right. Okay. Red. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, and now it's just not used. So if we go back over to company list, we can now do let company equal this is not going to work. There we go. And then with this, we should have gotten just like a load of error handling and stuff for free. It's even better than what we just had written there. Definitely needs a better name. Oh, we got an error. Okay, cool. Because unexpected let statements. Oh, I mean, like, yeah, we don't even need that. Technically, it's just this. Right? No? I feel like it is. I feel like it should just work. What's it complaining about? Expression found stimate meta variable. That's a stimate. Oh, no, it's not a stimate. It's a exper. If only I watched that recent video on exactly this topic, I would know what I'm talking about, right? Cannot find error in this scope. That's going to be more of an issue. So we can import it, but that's probably not what we actually want to do. So the problem here, actually, is it even going to be a problem? If we look at, say, if I just bring in error, start with that. This then tells me it's in here. Great. So can I just do... Oops. Oops. Wait. Right. Format argument must be a string literal. Cool. Yeah, I think we just, didn't we run into this earlier? Format must be a string literal. That is a string literal. Uh-oh. Let's have a look at the generated code. Looks right to me. Okay. So what if we do... What if we do it boring like... Oh! It's not complaining about this. Sorry, it said format macro. It actually means this one. I think it means that one. Trailing semicolon. Yep, don't want that. Oops, don't want that. There we go. So now, after all of that, get that rebuilt. Touch wood, keep your fingers crossed. If this is it, I am probably going to end the stream here. Look at that. And did not go through to the log. Oh, the logs are crashed. Sorry. Okay, I think. I mean, yeah, we now have 153 megabytes of logs. So this was the other issue I was sort of like referring to. Okay. So that'll open back up. But why did we have so many? Oh, we had so many errors because of the infinite loops. Those caused the errors. So the error log is still listening to all errors, and Dioxys was missing them for that infinite loop, which it was getting infinitely. So that's why that would have broken. So let's just quickly rebuild it. I think I'm probably going to stop storing so no errors at the moment. We submit this, we get the error, go to help, and we get partially incomplete, name is missing. I think, did I include Surday JSON here? I did. So, okay, this works fine, air quotes. So that's us including. Oh, we should not do that. Hang on a second. Let's go back to error handlers. We probably want to do the is it crate? Oh god, sorry. Emit error is being used by this macro, which I don't want it to do that. So it's at the top level. So we can do should be able to do create this thing. We'll just test this quickly in a second. We should be able to get rid of that, get rid of those. Yeah. Reload that. This should rebuild. That's all fine. Submit, we get the error. Okay. Obviously, this shouldn't be an error. We'll come to sorting that out later. It should just not allow you to submit at that point. In fact, this whole thing, again, 891 was pointing out, like, none of this is clear. Like, you type in, like, wait, whoops, where's my A button? And that, it's basically showing you, like, the a search, but when you hit submit, it will create this one. So that, like, there's a load of UX stuff in here that's just a total mess. And certainly hitting submit when there's nothing there should not really be an error. I am wondering whether I just delete the log file when you start the application. If you're hitting an infinite loop, the problem is if you're hitting an infinite loop, it's hard to get to this like log file. So that's another issue. I haven't quite worked that out yet. Anyway, that seems to have made that problem go away. It's still working. So just reread this one more time. So we've got our fully qualified things to the things that we need. We are extending that. We are pub using interesting. No imported item is public enough. The most public imported item is pub crate. That's odd. Does Clippy tell me how to sort that out? Or just not? Oh, is it because it's? There we go. Okay, cool. I think it's just complaining that I'm trying to pub everything, but it's not at the right level. So, oh, it's literally what it told me to do in Clippy as well. Okay. So let's just do a make pre-commits. Okay. I'm thinking, if this is fine, this is probably enough of the things I had planned, right? Setup, signal receiver, done. Components for listening, macro kind of done. It's not really everything, but we have not thought of when to, we talked about it, but we didn't really cover when to clear the log file. And we're not going to create our own error message tonight, given it's already 10 past 9 and I'm exhausted. So I'm going to call it here. That is all fine. Cool. Oh, wait, that's not what happened. That's not what I changed. Sorry, what I changed was added error macro. Needs implementing everywhere. Command push. I might think, for example, I might think that I might change this to basically be like, this one doesn't really need an error message. It just needs to exit. So what I might do is like a swallow error and return macro or something there. Because if the, I need to think about this because this shouldn't be an error, but then there are other things that should be errors. So it requires a bit more sort of structured thinking, which I'm clearly not capable of tonight. So I'm going to call it there on in terms of work. I think I just pushed this. Yeah, it says right there. I think I might not do a stream next week. The reason being that I basically spent all week making changes to the job tracking app, which meant I did nothing on the unsafe video. So I really want to focus down and get the last couple of videos done. So I might pause on this for a little bit. So just maybe next week, and I might come back in a week or the week after, perhaps, if I can think of things that are worth doing, and depending on how far I've gotten with the unsafe stuff. The unsafe video should be a lot shorter than the last monster of a video, because there's really only a handful of things to talk about. And the primary goal of the video is really just like, if you see this, it's fine. If you need to write it, it's fine. Don't panic. There are ways of like thinking about these things that keep you safe. So it's not huge. There's only like 3 or 4 things you can even do with unsafe. One thing though is that I have noticed as I'm doing my research, almost everyone discusses it in the wrong way. So I will be discussing something that kind of bugs me with the way that people talk about unsafe Rust, which is that it does not turn off a single safety feature. It doesn't turn off anything. But I will explain what it is doing later. So that's it. Yeah, probably no stream next time. I'll see where I get to, like pottering around with this. I'll be focusing on the unsafe video for the time being. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for the chat. I really enjoyed, as you guys know, I love talking about the AI and how I think it's all doomed, because I'm a very cynical person, perhaps. But yeah. Thanks everyone, and yeah, I will hopefully see you all soon. Hopefully the Discord links actually work this time, but we'll find out. Yeah, see you all.